Robotics is an interdisciplinary field that integrates computer science and engineering. 1. Robotics involves design, construction, operation, and use of robots. The goal of robotics is to design machines that can help and assist humans. Robotics integrates fields of mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, information engineering, mechatronics, electronics, bioengineering, computer engineering, control engineering, software engineering, mathematics, among others. Robotics develops machines that can substitute for humans and replicate human actions. Robots can be used in many situations for many purposes, but today many are used in dangerous environments, including inspection of radioactive materials, bomb detection and deactivation, manufacturing processes, or where humans cannot survive, for example in space, underwater, in high heat, and clean up and containment of hazardous materials and radiation. Robots can take on any form, but some are made to resemble humans in appearance. This is claimed to help in the acceptance of robots in certain replicative behaviors, which are usually performed by people. Such robots attempt to replicate walking, lifting, speech, cognition, or any other human activity. Many of today's robots are inspired by nature, contributing to the field of bio-inspired robotics. Certain robots require user input to operate while other robots function autonomously. The concept of creating robots that can operate autonomously dates back to classical times, but research into the functionality and potential uses of robots did not grow substantially until the 20th century. Throughout history, it has been frequently assumed by various scholars, inventors, engineers, and technicians that robots will one day be able to mimic human behavior and manage tasks in a human-like fashion. Today, robotics is a rapidly growing field. As technological advances continue, researching, designing, and building new robots serve various practical purposes, whether domestically, commercially, or militarily. Many robots are built to do jobs that are hazardous to people, such as defusing bombs, finding survivors in unstable ruins, and exploring mines and shipwrecks. Robotics is also used in STEM. Robotics has changed our lives in ways we couldn't possibly have imagined, but there is so much more you need to know about robots. What are robots and what can they do? Robots are machines that can carry out complex actions automatically. They generally need three elements: sensors such as cameras, lidar or microphones, actuators such as motors, pistons or artificial muscles, and controllers. Robots may be remotely controlled by humans, but frequently they are partially or fully controlled by computers, making them autonomous. Robots in fiction frequently resemble us, looking quite humanoid in appearance with 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head with cameras for eyes. But in reality, the vast majority of robot forms are designed to fit their function. Your washing machine and dishwasher are both robots performing complex actions under computer control. Many air conditioning units are robots, changing fan settings, air deflectors, and switching from cooling to heating automatically. All modern cars are robots, with computers adjusting engine settings, brakes, steering and suspension in response to your driving. The more advanced autonomous cars are even starting to take over some of the driving from you. Who coined the term robotics? The word robot derives from the Czech word robota, meaning forced labor, which was derived from the Proto-Slavic or bota, meaning hard work or slavery. In 1920, Karel Čapek introduced the word robot to the world in his play called Rozumoví univerzální roboti, Rozum's Universal Robots, in which artificial organic humanoid robots were built and subsequently became dissatisfied, leading to a robot revolution and ultimately the birth of a new robot society. Similar storylines have been used in movies about robots ever since. Čapek's robots were not mechanical, unlike ours today. But more recently, the word robot or bot is also used in reference to software, for example, a web crawling bot that trawls through websites collating information. Given the original meaning and origin of the word, you have to wonder if one day an intelligent artificial entity will consider robot to be highly offensive and derogatory. How are robots made? The field of robotics, and more broadly mechatronics, studies how best to design, build and control robots. It's surprisingly difficult to make robots that work well. Information from sensors must be processed in real time. If you cannot make sense of what you see quickly enough, then you either have to move very slowly, or you have to keep stopping to think. More flexible robots such as robot arms in factories have many degrees of freedom. Imagine an arm with 5 elbows as well as a shoulder and wrist joint. Such arms can be moved into billions of different twisty poses to enable them to reach into tricky places and weld components together. Figuring out how best to control robot arms so that they do not hit anything, including themselves, is surprisingly hard, especially when obstacles may be moving around them. That's why, despite all the amazing things artificial intelligence I can do today, robot control is still considered one of the most difficult problems. It's also why creating fully autonomous vehicles is a lot more difficult than most people realize. What could robots of the future do? Robots have contributed massively to our industries, enabling most devices, appliances, transportation, and processed foods to be made efficiently and cheaply. Today, researchers are working towards even greater automation, with robots taking over more and more of the manufacturing processes. 3D printing using additive manufacturing may enable complex components to be made. And it is the ambition of many industries to even automate the repair process of machines, with faults being detected before they cause failures and new parts being made and swapped automatically. Eventually, this could even lead to machines that can build themselves and repair themselves, known as von Neumann machines, self-replicating machines, after the mathematician who imagined them back in the late 1940s. In our homes, robots are likely to become more common. Robot vacuum cleaners and floor moppers may become the norm instead of a luxury, although they're unlikely ever to look like Rosie the robot from the Jetsons. Robot kitchen arms to do your cooking might become common. At present, there are no practical robot dusters, however. Are the 3 laws of robotics real? The science fiction writer and professor of biochemistry, Isaac Asimov, wrote many early books about robots. The movie I, Robot was based on his books, and his Foundation series is now being made for a new Apple TV series. He famously created 3 laws of robotics. A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey the orders given it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. A robot must protect its own existence, as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws. But while these laws were a fictional attempt to protect us from harm, as Asimov's own stories often demonstrated, tell the robot he is not a human being, or neglect to tell them that he is a human, or tell the robot that something else is a human being, and all kinds of problems could happen. Today, no robot uses these 3 laws. Instead, we have experts in ethics and morals to help provide sensible guidelines for the creation and use of robots. Some researchers also hope to empower robots and give them the ability to judge ethical and moral consequences for themselves,